Hello, everybody. Oh, I forgot to do the thing again. See, one day I'll remember to have that sized correctly before we start.
I think in your defense, Discord fucked with things, but...
No, it's like, I have it set up in a weird way where it's just, like, capturing a particular area of the window. So if I resize Discord, which I often do to, like, read stuff, it will screw up the screen capture portion of it.
I have to check how bad I did this week. Let's find out.
I did as bad as you did last week, and you did better than... or as good as I did last week. We basically flopped. Like, I did awful, you did okay.
Anyway. I mean, in Div 2A, I crushed it. I only got one wrong.
Let me fix, and that's where we did all our opposite predictions. So I did very badly in 2A. Anyway, let me start that over. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Steakdorra, the Explorers review REL 1 and 2A. This is season 15, week 2, and there you go. I'll probably.
The sizing is still wrong, by the way.
Is it? No, it's fine.
No, look at that black bar at the bottom.
Oh, you're right. That blends in with my black background.
I so often am. It's a curse, really.
Blend in with the background?
Being right.
Oh, I see. I got it.
Just kidding, I'm terrible.
Yayo says don't vote for him anymore. I know the feeling.
You're quite trash every season.
I have been fairly severely slapped around in the last 4 Blood Bowl games I've played across all of the leagues that I'm in, and it's very frustrating. Oh,
I am winning handedly.
Oh.
I actually just keep like removing elf teams from existence. Like, I'm just kidding, Yayo. I like you. This Asian fusion place has chicken udon, and I'm medium suspicious of it.
Why medium suspicious? Like, do you mean chicken and like udon noodles, or like?
Yeah, I mean, probably like some sort of chicken udon soup thing, as the Japanese would do. But it's sus because it's one of those places that's like, you know, we have 150 things from like countries totaling in like 3 billion people. So
that's fair. I mean, I've had like udon with like sort of like fried chicken cutlet strips and stuff that's been really good.
I mean, I had a lot of delightful udon in Japan, but I don't really get a lot of it here.
There's a Japanese place nearby. Meat that's pretty good that I like stuff from.
There is. I have been there many times.
Anyway, let's like Blood Bowl stuff, shall we? Instead of boring people with your food choices. We're gonna watch Dead Monkey and Trunkhead because I don't think we've watched either of them in the several seasons that we've been doing this. We've been doing this since season 8, by the way, which is a long time.
We're on season
15.
Jesus.
Yep. I have every recap still if you want to go back and look at them. So I don't think we've watched either of them, so it'll be
I can see myself age over the years, though.
I posted that, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. You look like you became a hill person, and I look identical.
You look exactly the same with slightly different glasses in a new apartment, and I'm the poster boy for, like, don't do Blood Bowl. Like, this is your brain on Blood Bowl or whatever. Like, I go from clean cut, like, nice little boy to whatever the hell I am now.
A hill person.
Yes, hill person. Sasquatch. I'm gonna watch Damn Yankees and Practice Makes Permanent from 2A. I think Dead Monkey whispered you and said that it was an interesting one to take a look at, so we prioritize that.
He complained about it, not complained, but kind of like complained about a particular play that was well executed by his opponent. So
plus it's 2A and we watched one last week, so there you go. Nice little transition, flip flop, taking turns, being fair, etc. So do you want to get into it?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. I'm at the setup if you're ready to count down or whatever. 3, 2, 1, go. We have 2 babes for Trunkhead as inducements there. And that's an interesting... You don't often... I've seen people do this before, like the super offset, like LOS and then rule of 5 sort of thing.
I've never seen it so deep. Like, I do something like this. My standard setup is an offset rule of 5. Because it's nice as rats for perfect D. But
against like bash teams, because they're going to do this, right? Where they set
I don't
up
like being this far
LOS.
back though. Like, one of your assets as Dark Elves in this matchup is like, if you can get behind him and he fails that pickup, especially in the snow where he's got kickoff return, sure, but he 1-9s that pickup and you get a deep kick, like you could potentially get behind the lines and take the ball from him. But with a kick like that, real unlikely that this is going to be an aggressive drive for Trunkhead.
And Det Monkey made the right choice there, like defending against the perfect D, where he puts his Black Orcs on the LOS still anyway, so he can't escape the Mighty Blow hits, no matter if he gets a perfect D or not.
Don't like hitting straight on. I would have preferred to see some LOS hits on angles, so we're pushing people into more pieces if you don't get the knockdown. But has gotten a stun and a removal, so
and Mighty Blow is a 3-die with the troll.
What could go wrong?
Nothing.
So say the troll 1 in 27s here, Trunkhead really couldn't do anything.
Not really.
So I don't like being that far back. Ooh, and does 1-9 the pickup.
Sure hands not being sure enough.
Am I ahead or are we good?
Nope, we just failed the pickup. Turnover now. Turn 1 for the damn Yankees. Now, is that like a joke about sports ball, or is that like an Americans thing?
What?
The damn Yankees. I think Americans, given there's characters named Nuke and Uncle Sam, which I don't recognize from being from a baseball team.
So not going in with the Mighty Blow piling on character, just goes in with a normal strength 4 piece so he can punch. I guess he was looking for the opportunity to punch a hole through potentially and maybe filter one of the Agi pieces back there, but I doubt you'd risk it given how many Mighty Blow Tackle Frenzy pieces there are that would immediately punch you. And I mean, this Juggernaut Frenzy Mighty Blow Tackle piece is perfect for killing the Russell.
Yeah, maybe if you were farther forward, like you said, you could have and you got that knockdown there, you could have filtered several players through to at least screen off the people you put through, but given the far back setup wasn't really an option.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why we saw the far back setup, is that Trunkhead knew that the Blizzard was going to make blitzing all odds appealing, and it worked out. He only took 2 hits, so that worked out in the sense that limited damage.
Trunkhead says that the team was supposed to be played in G-Man, so it was making fun of Americans.
3 for 3 on armor breaks, 2 for 3 on removals, going Det Monkey's way so far.
Very true.
Good removal there, and an AV bust on the Wrestle Lino means that he is Dunyan rings.
Yeah, this is going to be about trying to not
pickup.
I was going to say this one is going to be about trying not to take too much damage, backing off a little bit, and waiting for your opportunity to go in. And the orcs just keep failing the pickup. So maybe your opportunity is now.
Yeah, I think Trunkhead is now finally going to filter some pieces back. On a little bit of pressure if this ball is going to continue just being on the floor.
Leap.
Little springy leap there. He's going to be leaving some exposed players here for sure, no matter how you cut this. So
I like that. The leap for the assist is fun.
There's not a lot we can do to get out of this.
No, we really wanted that knockdown so we wouldn't be stuck on afterwards, and we'd have a hole through.
Well, the problem here, though, is that there are too many players that need dealing with, which is, of course, what the Dark Elves are trying to do. Sure, you'd love to Frenzy Blitz this Witch with your Juggernaut Mighty Blow Frenzy piece to just absolutely murder her, but then you've left this Uncle Sam Strength 4 Blodgestep Blitzer unattended, and it's pretty easy for him to sidestep somewhere annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably blitz that witch anyway. She's super important.
Yeah, you should. It's just a matter of it being a little risky.
Juggernaut.
We're gonna pile on. Juggernaut is a good skill, turns out.
And
doesn't get a result here though. First time the armor held. Ooh, pickup works though. That was a risky pickup with no recovery or no cover on the ball.
I was gonna say you could bring the Black Orc back and try to punch the sidestep guy. Maybe it's a little risky, but you should have gotten you could have gotten some support in there before you tried to pick up. But
it's a POW. Otherwise, that would have been going right onto the ball.
It goes into the ball anyway.
And gets a KO. Jesus. Well,
I would be pretty happy about how things are going so far if I were the orcs.
Yeah.
We can't... The troll activates, which is good. We can't get a full sort of cage here, but we can put a crap load of guard on the corners that are not exactly caged. So it's still pretty safe.
I would consider doing a foul on the witch. Oh, it doesn't. I know that your dirty player didn't get to activate for fouling, but I would have considered... I think actually what would have happened is I wouldn't have punched the Bloodstepper because the risk was really high there, and I would have instead just turned and kicked Misty Knight. Even an unassisted foul there is quite nice.
Misty Knight. That's so familiar. Is that the character from Luke Cage? Is that what that is?
I don't know.
I recognize that name. Detective Misty Knight is like the detective from Luke Cage.
Rando break on an Orc Lino gets a KO. Noblar needs 3. He's out.
Yes, that is correct. Aha. I remembered a pop culture thing. I mean, it's about like, Marvel movies, but hey, still.
I never watched Luke Cage.
It is pretty good.
I watched a few episodes of Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones is also really good, though. It was uncomfortable in a lot of ways, but also
it had a lot of themes that would make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point, I guess, and it does pretty well exploring them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's toted for, certainly.
Okay, so now we can. It's only taken us 3 turns or 4 turns to get across the LOS because we failed several times to pick up the ball, but we have made it across. Some of the elves are committed, some of the elves are removed, so it's certainly looking fairly good for the orcs to score here. There's still the orcs can't be. I almost said uncareful.
With an Agi 5 leaper, you're never safe, and you have to always like This is pretty good. Like, you're going to be looking at a red die here, and there's nothing Trunkhead can do about that outside of dodging a guard into the cage, which seems very unlikely. So Dead Monkey has to be careful to always keep tackle on the corners, ideally, and guard on the corners.
Yeah,
so
that was kind of going to be my next statement there, is that it's looking pretty good, but he can't be not careful because that, a leap could happen whenever. Yeah. So you still got to take it slow, even though things are looking good.
Finally gets a mighty blow hit of his own. Gets a POW.
Oh, you're ahead.
No.
Here's the mighty blow hit. There's the POW. Armor break.
Just a stun, though.
Good little view under the orc's loincloth there as he falls over.
He ain't packing much.
No. Well, I don't know. It's not really ever been discussed in fantasy or...
it's not canon if they have genitals.
Yes. Well, like in 40k, orcs are fungus, so it doesn't really matter. But that has never been confirmed nor denied in fantasy. Like, we don't know if that's a thing in fantasy orcs.
He chose to go... I guess he didn't want to go into the sidelines with these witches kicking around, but...
Yeah.
He is getting pretty mired, I would say.
Penned in, slowed down.
But he did also pen in a bunch of dark elves. Like, we're looking at a lot of 2+ dodges or 3+ dodges here. So does get a nice mighty blow hit on one of the best blitzers. Even re-rolls for it, but does not get a knockdown.
Yeah, I think we're just aiming. It's like the the necro thing where we try to like snipe the one good player with our one mighty blow hit, and then that's kind of the blitz action rather than whether it's for repositioning or not. It's mostly just about hitting a thing. Once again, I have to tell Twitch chat to allow niggle for good reasons, but I wish it would just keep it around.
That guy is nickled. I mean, I think it was a good hit anyway. Like, I don't think anyone would judge you for smacking the mighty blow tackle Juggernaut Frenzy Priest with the movement up. Like,
never. I would do that 100% of the time.
Gets most of the way through the dodges before failing one. So
now if we probably want to move forward, given that we have the ball on an orc thrower.
Yeah, but again, chooses to move into these players instead of moving, or is he moving? Actually, I don't know where he's going, but there's a lot of this space up like to the right of this Agi Witch, and I think he should be taking advantage of that.
That's where I'd be moving into.
Just be careful not to be spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah, and you also have to be careful that when you do move in that way, you still
get the knockdown. Ooh, and an injury.
That's big.
Yeah, Agi 5 is out, and he did not apple it, so she's just out.
And so we're going to have probably a based cage here?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be based in the technical sense, but you'd be looking at a red die.
And we do still have guard on all the corners. The opposite corners.
There's nowhere they can stand that they're not going to be subject to a red die, unless you get a red die push, like double push from this armor 7 piece. I think we're gonna consider going in here, or we might just be blitzing the niggle again.
It's probably not a bad choice just to blitz the niggle again.
Get a POW. Potentially putting a blodge piece on the ball. Yep, we do.
It's not blodge step, but it is blodge. And that could be, it basically like dictates the blitz for the orcs, right? If they want to be safe in moving forward, they have to blitz that blodge piece. So
yeah, not that they're sad about that, but it does mean there is opportunity here for things to go a little wrong.
Yeah.
And if things go a little wrong here, Debt Monkey could be in a position where maybe he's a little bit more exposed to a cage dive than he would normally be.
And the Dark Elves also know that that's the blitz target. Ooh.
Gets him down on the second one.
The Elves also know that the blitz is going to be on that target, so they can position maybe a bit more aggressively than it would otherwise.
I understand that pylon, but I think it was a bad one.
Hello, Ramaset.
I think you needed that tackle piece there to be in this Garter's way.
Yeah, we'll see. I am a little bit scared due to the there's no way that we can make a full cage here, right? That movement orc he's a movement orc.
So once again, we're looking at a red die from the Wrestle Witch if we chose to pop or to pull the trigger this turn. 1 and 9 means a fail there. I don't know why we did that block and not one of these Black Orc blocks. I think that was bad ordering, and also the troll didn't move. The troll could have gone somewhere. So I think there's some like minor ordering.
Doesn't have a friend though.
The troll does not have a friend. You're right, but the troll isn't going to get one, so you roll that 4+ anyway.
Yes, that's true.
If the troll 4+ activated and moved south of the dodges in, doesn't even go for the lead.
Is his tackle zone being useful right now? I guess is the question. But before you reroll or decide to move him, but there we go.
Second red die is good. Gets the ball down.
Ooh, hello.
That's going to be a 3+ pickup and a GFI. It's probably better than just to do with the blitz. It's definitely better to do with the blitzer.
This is the troll being still having tackle zones.
Well, we can put blodge step on it though, potentially.
Is being useful here, because he's in the way. Yeah, and a wrestle tackle like uphill isn't actually that bad.
It's a 25% into a 25%.
Yeah, it's not terrible. So I don't like. I think it was going to come at some point.
That's a perfect. Wow, even got the yeet. So that's going to be no orc score. I don't think it's possible for the orcs to score there.
Troll can get it.
Troll can technically get it. That's it. Yeah. 3+, 3+, 5+, 6+, 3+. Easy.
We could move. You can move the one of the black orcs to be a friend for the troll, and then 2+, 2+ GFI like.
GFIs are 3+ though.
Oh right, sorry. Well, 2+, 2+ for the really stupid, and then 3+, 3+. I like just going for the hits because that's very unlikely. So you might as well try to remove the dark elves rather than at least first.
Both, but yeah.
Oh yeah, you just do the hits first, is what I mean.
He is getting a lot of breaks and did get 1 Kaz out of it so far.
If it was like a reasonable chance at scoring, you probably just do that because you want to make sure you dedicate your reroll to it. But since it's not a reasonable chance, you might as well throw these hits first and then try the score. Because if you get it, and that's great. But you'd rather take the hits, I think.
I'm really stupid it anyway.
Oh, you're ahead. There's the really stupid. The ugly bag of mostly water certainly lived up to his name.
Going for one more hit on the niggle.
I like how the like player card for the troll is so zoomed in. It's just his nose. Like if you have
Trunk had his good dice for the half, and it was turn 7, not turn 8.
So finishing that, like that looked really good for the orcs for most of it, and then not scoring is actually really bad.
Well, to be fair, getting the ball down wasn't that unlikely, but the play to
get rid of it
was a bit like all of it as a sequence became very unlikely. But
yeah, I mean, if we're being super pedantic, any sequence of dice is unlikely. Sure. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Probably like a 10-15% play, if I had to guess.
And
no, it's got to be less than that because there was a dodge into a cage and a 25%. Or there were two 25%.
Why that specifically matters, though, right? Is that like it made it impossible for the orcs to score, and the unlikely part was the part that made it impossible for the orcs to score. If you didn't get that part, the orcs probably still could have scored.
Yes. Though you don't have to nail the pass; even an inaccurate pass will do. So.
I mean, depends on what dice rolls you're asking about, but yes, that was kind of my point. Yeah. Is that like people, it's like the whole heads tails thing, right? If you flip 100 heads in a row, people will be like, isn't that unlikely? But 100 heads in a row is exactly the same likelihood as heads tails 100 times, right? It's just a noteworthy outcome, which is why people like put significance on it, right? That's kind of what my point was with the sequence of dice being equally unlikely.
Yes, once we attribute success and fail states to things is when you get to,
Yeah, it's the noteworthy outcomes or whatever that become the parts that
Quick
matter.
snap is nice there. It lets him disengage. Admittedly, it was only 2 pluses with built-in reroll, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but I would guess this is going to be a tough half for Trunk. He's down quite a few players. It is, 8 on 7 on 11, so
absolutely confirmation bias. Rolling 12 sixes in a row is just as likely as rolling 12 ones in a row, but people will only care about the 12 ones in a row, really, because that means they failed a bunch of stuff. We are down a decent number of elves, but we have the movement, we have the agi, we have the strength 4, like we have the big pieces to potentially score, as long as to potentially not have a too hard a time scoring, as long as the orcs don't keep removing things, and as long as we score at some point during this half, it shouldn't be too hard to stop the orcs, or at least guarantee the tie.
Yeah, the tie versus the win, and keeping the balance in such a way that you don't like try to stall too long, and then the orcs just
beat you to death.
Well, no, catch up to you and take the ball from you. So, like, the idea is you stall as long as you can to prevent an orc 2-turn or 3-turn. Really stupid there is annoying, so it does make the wall a little less secure, but you can fix it.
Yeah, an orc 2-turn isn't great. It's not terrible where you don't have very many elves to stop it. An orc 3-turn is pretty doable, especially if you don't have a full team to defend with.
There's decently distributed tackle here. I suspect Trunk is just going to pull back.
And the orcs are going to, like, orc screen and keep moving it forward instead of elf screening and moving it backwards. I have done this thing many a time as a punchy team versus an elf team. It's like, stay spread out so we can't run around, move slowly forward so that eventually we can try to get the ball. Just make sure we have a safety and... Witch elves make weird noises.
They do.
She caught the ball and went, I'm like, well, great. Thanks, Witch elf. I'm glad you did that.
She wants you to know that it was extremely sexually satisfying to catch that ball.
Yeah. I think that's the vibe I was getting there. Not quite as bad as Brett's, but, it's up there.
So we're being given a little bit of wiggle room here, but not a lot.
Yeah, we want to make sure that I would be keeping that, like, we have the movement frenzy tackle piece like dead center, and he's going to stay there all the time, which is the right choice. And then we have tackle on either side as well.
So the right side is weaker certainly now.
It is, yes. We have there is a gap that we could run through without rolling dice if we wanted to, but we could get sort of at best 3 players over there, and then that's not really enough to defend against the movement.
But he's going on the left. We're going to go for the surf here. It is a 2+ leap. Oh, which we fail. It is a leap into a dodge, though, right? You have to dodge out of this. It's a 2+. Oh, you're always going for the 1 die.
Leap.
1 die into a 1 die is a little risky, but gets it. So it was a 2+, 3+, 3+ for that surf.
It's not terrible.
No, but a fail is pretty bad. Like
that's true.
Your witch on the ground on a 2, and your witch probably armor broken on a 1.
Although it's a little, like you say, 3+. Like it's really a 2+. Like as long as you don't roll a skull, it's fine. But you just don't get to surf.
No, but even if she goes down, I mean, there's a lot of dirty players. She's trying to surf a dirty player.
That's the. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. We can't. We could hit the ball here. Although it does depend on rolling a POW. Like if we roll a POW on this sidestepper, which we do,
Spoilers.
we can go hit the ball. So like I think that's definitely worth trying. Is if you get that,
of course.
great.
Well, the problem here, of course, is that the ball is dump off, so you've got to cover the witch a lot.
Oh right, he's a runner. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can only do short passes, so I don't think he can reach.
I don't
the
like
witch,
there
right?
should be more players on this witch. Ooh, we've got to have more players on this witch.
Can he reach the witch with the dump
That's a
off?
2+. Oh no, because it's a short pass,
it
right?
can only be quick passes.
Ooh, gets it onto.
That was a not easy pass and a not easy catch that we managed to get. The pass was what?
Pass was a 3+, and the catch was a 4+.
Yes.
I don't like not. I would have probably tried to get the blitzer in behind this. I think. No, but dump off also you can only do a short pass.
Dump off is only short pass. Yeah. It is or quick pass. Whatever one the shortest one is.
I think leaving an out for this blitzer was a bit of a mistake. I think you needed to commit to rolling the dice. This is like a bash problem.
Yeah.
He had the opportunity to roll the dice to make this safe, and didn't because he was afraid to roll dice. I think is what it looked like at least.
Yeah, and it's we put ourselves in a bad position if things don't work out for you and do work out for the elves. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's basically my entire life from a set, so I understand.
Because now this is very hard to get in front of. Like, sure, you've got your safety back here, and your safety can hit the witch, but then what do you do?
I think half paying attention and talking at your ass basically describes my entire existence.
Correct. We're going after the Blodge Step Killer, which I guess makes sense.
It is the scariest, like, scoring threat. Like, if the ball gets to him and then he moves his full distance, the orcs are just, like, out of range forever, which is a losing combination.
Generally.
We really don't want that guard piece going anywhere.
The guard piece is caged, almost. Tackle doing a thing, taking down the Mighty Blow Blitzer, and he is out. Well, at least he's stunned.
John Rambo!
Oh.
No! Well, you're still ahead. There's the KO.
I actually just assumed that I was ahead.
Yeah, there's the KO. So the elf with the ball is free, but that's about it.
I would have considered. Nah, I guess this is fine.
This is
the obvious play here is to blitz the tackle down, and once the tackle down goes down, which he did, I think pulling back and screening off the tackle was the correct play. Basing the witch just left you open to this, which is that now you have no tackle pieces in range of the ball.
And now we have a 2+ to make this ball basically as safe as it's ever going to be. And the orcs are just sad now because the elves are going to stall forever, and the orcs can't do anything about it. Failed dodge on the runner, but it doesn't really matter. Can that... No, he's a line orc, right? Yeah, so he can't do anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, we could uphill the ball with the blockless dirty player line orc if we wanted to.
I think we throw some 3+s to hit the witch and at least put tackle on the ball, but at this point, there's not a lot to get done.
No, I mean you could technically uphill the ball with some dice from the dirty player line orc, but I don't think praying for double POWs is a good strategy.
No, we're going after the Lino.
No, we're not.
Fail the GFI. Fail the GFI again.
Oof.
That's gonna be game, I think.
That's pretty much the final nail in the coffin for the orcs, frankly. I mean, even if you just base the ball, it wasn't going to do much.
Mistake punished aggressively. That is the Dark Elf versus Orc matchup in a nutshell, I think.
Even if we did succeed that block and like just marked the ball, like it's marked with strength 3 on strength 4, it's not going to be very difficult for him to get away, frankly. But it was better than not having anything.
Like 1 in 81s or something like that.
Yeah, it was better than not having anything. Yeah, KSC Blue is pretty much how I feel about it. If I was playing the orcs here, I'd be like, well, time to just try to kill some elves because I don't think I can do anything.
Oh, I guess to protect the witch is the idea here.
I'm gonna punch the armor 7 with Mighty Blow, try to get some SPP.
Pile it on. You're not gonna get another chance. Oh, doesn't pile it on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There is nowhere for the Blitzer to hide, I don't think.
1, 2.
No, it can hide on the sidelines.
6. Yeah, the orc isn't in the middle, and he's only moving 6.
Once again, did not throw GFIs. Like, I think if you're going to make the Hail Mary plays, you have to like actually commit to the Hail Mary plays.
I mean, I feel like at this point the orcs are just going to aim to punch as
Although
many
the
elves as
movement
they
7
can.
could get in a position where he is covering the spots that the other one is missing. I think 1, 2. No, the corner is perfectly safe.
Yep.
So you needed to do GFIs with someone, and we didn't. So
I mean, I think the orcs at this point have just decided, like, I can't win this game, so I might as well just try to kill elves, and doesn't really care about...
I think that is a common orc thought when that is not technically true yet. I understand the desire, but I guess you would be looking at like an orc 1-turn or an orc riot, because riots are not canceled. So you could have won on a riot.
I mean, really what you'd want to do is not...
For it to be even reasonable, but it's not like you auto lose if you do it now. It's just, fairly unlikely to say the least.
Freedom is KO'd. Oh, wow. There's like a topical message there.
And Misty Knight goes down. She's fine, though. And we're punching her. No, and she's out.
Dong.
My food is 11 minutes away.
That's exciting. My food is in my tummy.
Questionable quality, but that's what we're going for here.
Have you ordered from this place before?
No.
There you go. Always an experience. I did the thing where you go to one of those all-you-can-eat sort of like Korean barbecue places last night, which is like, mediocre quality, but also all-you-can-eat, which is, a fun time when sharing it with lots of friends.
Going to places is illegal here, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, see, in the Atlantic bubble where everything is wonderful, New Brunswick has started exploding again.
I don't know, you guys had 3 cases or something yesterday.
We had 0 today. New Brunswick got like a big list.
We only had 844.
New Brunswick had a bit of a breakout, but here is still okay. Let me check. I want to be...
Only 844 today, down from the record high last week of like 1,400, I think.
We have 0 today, but we have gone up from 1 active case to 4 active cases, like total. So there you go. Over the last couple days. Because I think, on the 10th, so 4 days ago, we got 3 new cases. And it's been
it's suddenly so quiet when the weather goes back to nice.
I know, it's weird. Have you ever gotten the chainsaw bug where it just keeps chainsawing forever? Oh my god, it's a nightmare.
Guns is injured, if only. Is this a 1-turn?
Butterfly meme?
This was a 1-turn attempt.
I mean, I appreciate the gumption. It didn't work because you rolled too many POWs.
He's movement 7, so that's movement 9. You need 4 pushes. It's a hell of a lot.
Yeah, movement 7 is like not unreasonable, but it's also very hard. Movement 8 makes it significantly nicer, just because you don't have to push someone to push with, and because you have to do that with you have to push someone up to do a block. With
that was a
movement
good
7.
game. I think that was a good like.
It was.
I don't think that was a dicing either way. I think actually like the injury dice are quite bad for damn Yankees, but a minor positional mistake with a lucky sack attempt made Trunk run away with that. Like I don't think Det Monkey really mispositioned
his offense was certainly fine, right? I think is the statement
there.
there.
Got a bit unlucky in the cage. He didn't like play people out into the wings in case that happened, but I don't think that was really an option. So
no, and then on defense, he made a minor sort of positional mistake that the Elves took advantage of, and I think that's kind of
a couple of like needed to roll more dice.
Huh.
I think he definitely overcommitted during the defense. Yes, that's basically what we're getting at. It's like overcommitted, and also when he needed to roll dice to make things at least a little hard for them, didn't. And I think that bash coaches often want to be in a position where they don't need to roll 3+s to.
Dice are scary,
but
rolling dice is scary, and I don't like it.
As it was like a 2+ to do all the things the Trunk wanted, and like
anything that isn't a 2-die block is a terrifying nightmare, and I don't want to roll those dice.
I think there was a position early on where he could have potentially caused a turnover on like a lucky like 3+ or 3+ fail or like a 1-die. I think he could have made that harder.
Yeah, I think the story of it is like his offense was fine, and he just there was a little bit of luck or unluck or however you want to put it, and then the defense was maybe a little bit either overcommitted or like once he had committed then didn't continue with the commit, like rolling the GFIs and that sort of thing. Anyway, do we want to look at the other matches in this this week?
Yeah, the only thing I don't understand is why did Trunk dodge into the cage instead of leap into the cage?
Yeah, that was interesting. Maybe he wanted to, like, if the scatter was like weird, he could have leaped out or something.
It's still a 4+ dodge though. Like it wasn't a trivial dodge. Like Agi 5 makes you better, but it doesn't make you that good.
It is worth noting that I think I predicted. We both predicted the orcs for that one, apparently. So
yeah, it was the only one I got wrong in 2A.
You did well this season. Yeah, so Trunkhead confirming what I said is that he wanted to be able to leap out if required to, so he didn't get murdered afterwards, or maybe to like recover the ball or something.
Yeah, it was dodge with the reroll, so 75% versus 83%, assuming you didn't want to commit the reroll to it. So not terrible. Because you were dodging into tackle and not because there was a tackle piece on that corner, but I'm pretty sure you were dodging into it, so tackle doesn't trigger. So
shall we look at the other ones? First, we had Ordinary Elves and the All-Stars of Chaos.
If I want to watch Swingy Rat dice, I just watch my own games. It's fine.
Yeah, this is back in REL 1, by the way. I predicted the Ordinary Elves, and so did you, and we were right. The Elves...
we do that sometimes.
I mean, it's kind of exactly as you'd expect this game to go, right? The Elves got beaten to death, but won. 22 armor breaks on the Elves, with 6 or 7 Kaz sustained, but still won 2-1 is very much the story of this game.
Who died? Strength on Eldril Sidewinder, he died. A Blodge Lino died, a normal Lino died, and a loner Lino died.
The Blodge Lino getting strength busted is kind of the only thing there that's actually relevant. The rest of it is all loner Linos or whatever. That sucks. Blodge is not great to lose, but at least it wasn't like the War Dancer or the Catcher or something.
Yeah, like if all the developed pieces to lose, I think you're fine with that one. It looks like Eldril did the job and then ate the MVP, as Eldril does. You are kind of sad to lose Linos on Wood Elves. They're expensive. Like having non-loners is nice, but
yeah, and like a Blodge Wood Elf Lino is like 110k, right?
It's true. It was 2-0 apparently before the dying started.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of how a team like these chaos would beat the elves, is you try to kill them before they can do too much, and if they do too much before you start killing them, there's not a whole lot you can do afterwards. But I mean, it depends on how the team is built, but there's like a lot of claw, mighty blow, tackle sort of like builds, and also how Locust tends to play his games. That's very much how they would go. We had Volcano and the Bogue Bombers. I predicted Volcano, you predicted the Bogue Bombers, and Volcano took this one, or Volcano, take your pick.
Yeah, expected problem the humans encountered. They got into a bit of a bash fest, it looks like, with 44 blocks to 43, and they got out removed because, they're humans and they're playing against Clabon.
Yep, that's pretty much how I think what I said during the prediction.
Caused by, the pieces you would expect to cause it.
Anything serious? Dirty player lineman dead. That's about it.
MNG on Dan Diedler is a bit unfortunate, of course. It's a good piece. Wrestle, tackle, strength up, frenzy, lino. Dead, dirty player is unfortunate as well, but not a big deal.
Get your oars because it rhymes with mayo. Bulkeo. It's pronounced Bulkeo. You've heard it here first.
Armin Hammer levels up to probably get Mighty Blow, I would guess, unless he rolled something spicy. Even on a double, I don't know what you'd take there.
Yeah, he's the blodge firm tackle guard.
So you have a choice. You always know where you end up.
You could take another Juggernaut just so you have it if you really wanted to. You could take Frenzy.
You never want to be blitzing with that piece.
You could take Frenzy.
I don't like Frenzy on your pillars, because that means you end up mispositioned sometimes. You want your pillars to be consistent, and Frenzy isn't, that's not what Frenzy really is for, I think.
No. But it's also...
I think you probably just take Mighty Blow.
Yeah, Mighty Blow is probably the choice.
Ooh, Diving Tackle. That's a good double.
That is a good double. That is a really good double for that piece. He's so annoying now. Wow. Blodge, stand firm, guard, diving tackle. It's like, well...
Tackle, too. So he's canceling dodge.
I'm going to sit here and be an assist that you can't get rid of. I am blodge firm in case you try to block me, so roll a pow. And if you decide you just want to dodge away, well, I have diving tackle. Fuck you, is basically that player.
Yep.
Oh, man, I like him. That's a really good double to roll. Unfortunately, losing some linos. I mean, at least they're just linos, but they're going to take a bit to replace, sadly. And we do like having a bunch of linos around to get in the way of teams like this. But they did their job. They ate the injuries so that the Chorfs didn't kill anything more important. But the Chorfs did win that one. 2-1. MLD Chaos is Magic, Chaos Subaru, and Wrath of Nuffle from Cullen. I don't remember what we predicted here. I predicted the Chaos and you predicted the Chorfs, and then they tied. So there you go. Good choice for our predictions. I think Chaos Subaru said this exact thing in the recap last week. I am very good at ties, and then tied. So there you go.
It does look like they both just beat each other up and then, scored on their own drives, and that was just that. 10 breaks apiece into a smattering of removals, but not enough to really swing things either way.
Welcome to Murder Team versus Murder Team, or Bash Team versus Bash Team. So many Chorf Nurgle, Chorf Chaos, Chaos Nurgle, Nurgle Mirror, whatever you want to name it, matches go this way. 1-1, we beat each other up on our drive and scored.
Yep, Chorf's getting the slightly worse end of it. MNG on Rainbow Dwarf is unfortunate. She's going to be missing that piece for sure. Chief Underhooves eating a movement bust is probably a soon-to-be death sentence for that piece. I don't think you fire it, but it's no longer something you look to develop.
We did level a blocker, though. We can pray for doubles, but I don't know if it is. It is not.
Chaos only lost Beastmen, so they were in a better position in terms of keeping positionals on the field. I totally fired it. That's fair.
The Chaos also leveled their Agi Beastman and a rookie Beastman, so we can see what they got. Which was block on one of the Beastmen, and the Agi Beastman also got block, so not terribly exciting. The Chorf that level got Dauntless, which is a thing. It's pretty much...
You already have a Lodge Sure Hands piece? I would have expected Wrestle on the Agi 4.
Yeah, that is a little surprising.
Oh my god, this is quite a plate of noodles.
That's the type of noodles that I want. My reaction to being given a plate of noodles should be, oh my god, that's quite a plate of noodles. Then we had Anagram Catastrophe, Uber the Nuber, and Skirgle. Stacy 1-1. That's not really how I predict a rat Nurgle game to go. I would either expect it to be Nurgle winning and all the rats being dead, or the rats winning like 4-0. Yeah, the Dauntless I think is definitely the choice there. If you didn't roll doubles, and given that you already have like Guard Stand Firm, right? It helps in those. Sometimes Chorfs end up in that situation where you're playing like Orcs or Nurgle or something, and you get into like a big fight where everybody has guard block and they just outstrength you, and then your Chorfs become irrelevant because they can't do anything when they just can't get blocks. And Dauntless helps out in that sort of situation, I think. Certainly. Oh no, Patch's Torah died. So that's the piling on claw tackle agi blitzer is just dead.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, but that's unfortunate. That's an important piece to lose. Throat Space, the gutter runner, is the one that got the touchdown. So that may have been the Nurgle controlling a lot of the game, and then the rats one turning, and then we tie.
Didn't Apo Patch's Torah?
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Other than that, it was just linemen, a couple badly hurt, so nothing permanent. The one Kaz came out of Glart, so we don't even get to steal his
Niggled armor bust, so maybe he was just like, you know what?
It is time. Okay, so all the rats basically just kind of dodged away and did rat things for the first half. The Nurgle barely stopped the rats from scoring. The second half, the rats like one turned and then just got squished into fine rodent goo.
Just evaporated. Yeah, I've played those games.
Level on a rotter is something.
Yeah.
I mean, you have two dirty player. I would, you could just take wrestle to have a look at annoying LOS rotter or something, but more dirty player is never like wrong. If you feel like going that way, I would probably take wrestle there, which we did. Nice. Good. So then we have Dreams of Golden Streams and the Gourmet Governors, Superfed and Luminous.
It was a rough time to be an inducement for Fed in this game, but I watched this game actually.
Yeah, so did I.
It was a good one. It was a tie, which is kind of what I expected it to be on some level.
Frankly, I think like that's kind of what we all assumed would happen. It's very, very, very like if you were going to be able to predict a tie, I think this is what you'd predict. But yeah, Skitter got badly hurt. Glart got movement busted. The Wizard failed, right? Again, I don't remember, but I assume it did. The inducements didn't do a whole lot, if I remember correctly. We all knew Fed was a filthy, boring rat coach for the last several seasons. This is a thing that's not new. Touchdown came from the one turner.
His play style has gotten boring, or he just one turns now? Can you elaborate on that? Are all rat coaches boring?
Yes. That's my elaboration.
All right.
The answer to both of those questions is yes. Fed has started one turning, and also rats are boring. So
I think you mean embraced, not embarrassed, but Fed is an embarrassment. So
you got one of the touchdowns is on the one turner, and that was the second one. Having watched that, right? Like Sulimi was up 2-1, and then Fed one turned it. The touchdowns came from Emmanuel Macaron and Borscht Johnson. So Borscht is getting some SPP towards the level, but the other one is not super relevant. Some thralls got hurt. It happens. MVP on Peach Cobbler to level the dirty player, which is not exactly useful. But it's something. I don't think he's taken the skill yet. He is out his leader for the next game, I think, which is a little bit annoying. That is like that extra reroll is pretty important for Vamps, frankly. Fed leveled Dakota Sky, the lineman, and just took dirty player, which I think is very, very
I would
reasonable.
pick there. Interesting.
I think kick and dirty player are both. Fed also highly values fouls, though. He's one of those people that'll yell at you for not fouling every turn if you're playing something like Brett's or Undead or something. Like he values it very highly, and I think I agree with him there. He thinks people don't foul enough.
I agree. Um,
Barbecue Gamer and Unseen Walker for Barbecue's Pit Crew versus Ragedorf.
I meant to ask you, how much guard does your Nurgle team have?
1, 2.
Would you like to guess how much guard my rat team has?
4.
Yeah.
I have 2. Yeah. I have my first tackle since about 2 seasons ago, which is a thing. Having 1 is always useful. I mean, any sane person would have rerolled that team 3. That's a lot of injuries. Any sane person would have rerolled my team 3 seasons ago. Okay, well, Barbecue's Pit Crew and Ragedorf. Barbecue's Pit Crew at 27 armor breaks into 9 Kaz on the dwarves, so the armor 7 catching up with them, I guess.
Jesus Christ. Ragedorf returning to his 1 dead blocker a game standard.
Yeah, MNG on Furious Dwarf, badly hurt on Insane Dwarf, badly hurt on Boss Dwarf, badly hurt on Waldorf, dead on Osha Dwarf. That makes sense. Osha, safety. Dr. Commodorf is badly hurt, Wharfdorf is MNG'd, and Swiftdorf is badly hurt. Oof. That's 4 dwarves on the field at the end, not including any KOs, which there were also 3 of. So this, dwarves getting pitch cleared is not a thing you see very often, but I think it happened in this game.
Beef Ribs got 5 Kaz.
Wow. I mean, that's not how I would have expected that, but I guess the armor 7 on some of those dwarves finally caught up to them, but good lord. Oh god, Unseen Walker is going to have a real rough next game, I think. Oh my god. Apparently Grandmaster Dorf single-handedly prevented it from being 2-0 at the end of the game, and that is an accomplishment in and of itself, given that you probably only had that dwarf on the field. Oh my gosh. All AV9 removals, wow.
Well, there were 2/3 AV9 removal. Well, AV9 Mighty Blow. One of them was Mighty, or 5 of them were Mighty Blow piling on. I don't know how often the piling on was used, but
still, that's a lot. That's the story of that game. Sorry, Unseen Walker, your dwarves are dead. Stouticus, the Grungy Desserts, and the Voltrux Vanguard ended up 1-1. This is not how the other elf punchy teams have gone this week. So we kind of expected Stouticus not to win this one, given that his team is exceptionally slow, even for Nurgle. And
he didn't win, to be fair.
We expected, I think, Ramaset to win because of that. And so I think Stouticus tying is a bit of a surprise or an accomplishment. And he didn't even really get that much in terms of removals or anything. I mean, there were 6 KOs, so none of those are going to show up here. And 6 KOs is pretty significant, especially if they didn't come back, which may have been the contributor to not scoring a second time for Ramaset. Ramaset says he also messed up on the wizard.
You gotta really appreciate when the game kicks you that hard when you're down.
Yeah, so 4 KOs first half, and then that may have made it a bit difficult.
I should play Nurgle. Everyone expects you to win, but when you tie, they also count it as a win.
Oh yeah, man. No, you should play my Nurgle, because then no one expects you to do anything ever, and it's great. If you win a game, it's exciting. If you score a touchdown, it's exciting. My Nurgle team is such trash. Therian the Returned, the thrower, got both a completed pass and a touchdown to level, so we could get something there. What's the level? Kickoff return, which makes a lot of sense, I think, given that high elves are not the speediest elves on their throwers and linemen. So the thrower can get to the ball and just have it safe in the backfield, and then eventually yeet it to one of the catchers without having to spend a lot of movement getting there. So T8 score from Stouticus after KOing 4 elves. Then the elves came back. Okay, so that seems to be the story there. No damage. So Ramaset, I think, is going to be pretty happy about the not having anybody die there. I should probably join racial discords someday. I think I'm in the Nurgle ones. I've just literally never talk in them because, why connect to Discord more often than I should.
A couple of them.
I am in Nurgle.
I recently left the Chaos one, but I'm in the Rat one, the Lizard one, and the Orc one.
I'm in the Nurgle one, and I'm in the Goblin one, because the Goblin Discord is the most wholesome place, and I love it. By the way, Kiander runs a great Discord. But I'd never participate in either of them. So there you go. But I feel like maybe I should join like an undead one or whatever, given that I play a lot of undead. But, you know, then I have to listen to other people's opinions, and why would I do that?
That's fair. So after all of that, in Div 1, Mongoose is loose, Volcano clearly on top with 6 points.
Yeah, two wins. Everyone, the closest are 1 win, 1 draw teams. Cullen, Stouticus, and Luminous starting off with only draws. And then we have a few 1 win, 1 losses, and then Locus, unfortunately, is the only pointless player so far in Div 1. So we have, let's do predictions, I guess. So we have Ordinary Elves, Holing, and Volcano. 2000 Chorf versus 1560 Wood Elves. The Wood Elves are 1560 and have 5 rostered players.
I don't want to see you very angry on Seawalker. Why are you such a masochist?
I'll have to check that out after.
Congratulations to Mongoose. Couldn't happen to a worse person. No, I'm just kidding.
Mongoose is a nice guy.
Dwarf, but he's a very sweet person. I love him dearly. All of this is just an act. I like all of you, except for Fed.
Do you like people? I didn't know that was a thing.
I'm kind of a softie.
I mean, like deep down inside, underneath your candy coating.
Is candy coating? Is that what my personality?
I guess, I don't know. I was just thinking about Smarties. Yeah, I mean, there are tools, like the Ward Answer is amazing and the Catcher is amazing, and we're gonna get 500k of inducements, like, so that's not insignificant. But I feel like we're gonna see a lot of punched elves. And although the Bull Centaur with Sure Hands is, if we can get the ball on him, that Ward Answer is not going to have a good time, right? If that was like
I mean, that's what the Wizard is for.
Yeah. But like if this was a normal Chorf team and we had like, even if we had like a Sure Hands Hobgoblin or something, the Strength 4 Ward Answer can still reasonably get the ball off him a lot of the times, just because Strength 4.
Strength 4 tackle, like if you get Eldril, you're going to have Eldril and you're going to have a Wizard. Like one time you bolt it. Yeah. Another time you just go in with Eldril and you one die him. You get it down, sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's going to be a bit more complicated because of the Strength 4. If the ball carrier is Strength 3, that's like basically guaranteed 2 sacks. With Strength 4, it's 1 guaranteed sack and 1 maybe sack.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's not as straightforward, but the
problem with Chorfs usually is that it's very easy to separate the fast pieces from the slow pieces if you're not getting brutally murdered. So,
yeah,
take advantage of that if they're still alive. It is Archangel 2.0. I know. Yeah.
I don't know. I like, my brain wants to say elves because like the inducements and chores being slow, but Mongoose also hasn't lost yet, so I don't know. Maybe that pulls it back a little bit in my.
How's doing?
Okay.
He's doing okay. He's got a win and a loss.
Yeah. And his loss was against Chorfs in the first week.
I'll believe in Volcano.
Ugh, I don't know. I'm gonna take the elves, I think, but I'm not very happy about that decision.
Okay.
All Stars of Chaos and Chaos is Magic. So lots of chaos in this one. Locus and Chaos Subaru. This might be a difficult one for the Chorfs, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one for KO. Down a blocker. So what's the bench like? Bench situation is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So no bench to start.
But we do get 400 something? 540.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you could get Grashnak. Wouldn't hate Grashnak. Strength 6 is pretty good.
I would like to point out that Chaos Subalu's Reddit name is Chaos Subalu version 2, and something about saying that is like very pleasing. Like that rolls off the tongue nicely, and I like it.
Fair. I also like that Canadian time zones are listed as America/Vancouver.
Yeah, I'm America/Halifax.
I'm America/Montreal. So
everything is America. Okay, Subaru is Canadian? Right, I knew that. I did know that.
There's so many Canadians. We're everywhere.
It's just V2, like Chaos Subaru version 2, like it rhymes and it's fun to say. But anyway, the Chaos
I don't care about sports, so I will be impossible to goad in this regard.
I mean, I'm a Leafs fan, so shouting "fuck the Habs" doesn't really do anything for me either.
Sometimes I like to watch the meaty men hit the puck thing with the sticks, and that's fun. But I don't really care.
And the other part about that is that I'm a Leafs fan, so no matter what you've said, what you say about my team, I've probably said worse because all of us are self-hating. So you can't win.
Very true.
So the Chaos have a lot of removal potential, and the Chaos Dwarves don't, which is a little bit tough for the Chaos Dwarves, I think. You're a Bruins fan. If you're a Bruins fan, get the fuck out. Montreal, Toronto, and the Bruins all have like a mutual triangle of hatred.
It's true, actually.
So there you go.
It is North America, but no one says that Canada is part of America. You can say it's part of the Americas usually, but no one does the.
Okay, do we want to stop being pedantic and predict a thing for this?
I never want to stop being pedantic.
I'm going to predict the Chaos because I think that it's going to be hard for the Dwarves to keep up with the Chaos doing things to them when they're down that much TV, because it turns out Chaos Dwarf inducements aren't amazing.
Yeah, Europeans just colonize too many places and they can't keep track anymore. I also think that Locust probably is the winner here. I actually think it's probably going to be a tie. I would be really.
I'd be very unsurprised to see a tie, but you got to predict something. So, then Bogue Bombers and Anagram Catastrophe, B-Dog and Uber the Nuber, 1770 humans, 1340 Skaven. This is probably pretty good for the humans, frankly. Skaven are not. The humans have like some speed; they can keep up with the Skaven. They often have a lot of.
It'd be really sad to be down the wrestle tackle frenzy piece, I think. But other than that, yeah, I mean, especially with the new diving tackle, like such a nightmare for gutter runners.
Locus hasn't won yet this season, but he's also played against
Locus is a good coach with a very one-dimensional playstyle.
He's only played elves so far, right? He's played the wood elves and the and rats, which frankly I don't think he is very good at playing against, because he's very good at the like sort of punchy bash game, and neither of those are that. So I think he's going to do better against you than he was against those two teams. He does tend to commit to removal plays a little bit. Like you can kind of, I've played him before, and you can kind of be like, hey, look, a tasty, juicy blitz target, and he'll just do it instead of putting his players in like useful places. So sometimes he commits a little hard to it, but he is very good at playing the guard bash game. So that is what you're going to be doing as Torps against him. So that might be a little bit hard. Right. The humans
with some like cheeky bull centaur plays is I think our point here. Yeah, I think the humans will have a good time here. The rats basically don't have a team. They have one blitzer. They have no mighty blow, so they're not going to be able to remove the humans in any meaningful capacity. They have a one-turner, sure, but it's going to be fielded eventually, at least.
Well, they get 430, or yeah. So they'll have Glart. They'll have a wizard. They'll have like some line rats if they want.
Is a thing. They don't have a great retrieval op. Like they're going to be retrieving on Agi 4, which I know. But as far as rats go, it's not the best recovery pieces. Like Fed has an Agi 5 sure hands piece for recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in Bogue Bombers.
Yeah, me too. I mean, guard, blodge, stand firm. There's a lot of tackle. There's the diving tackle piece we mentioned. The catcher can keep up with the gutter runners. If they try to just do the gutter runner thing and be like, I'm too fast, you can't reach me, the catcher can. It is only going to be like one dies in a lot of those cases, but sometimes rats can win just because they can leave. and you can't catch up with them, and you can't really do that against this human
Well,
team.
rats can do that less than most elf teams.
I don't mean leave as in like dodge away and sort of like be in the way. I mean like I'm movement 9 and you're movement 6. I just move over here and you physically can't reach me.
Yes. Rats are like, I mean, what I like most about lizards is you can often be in a position where you're like, I'm movement 8. Literally no one can touch me if I take this GFI. And rats are often in the same boat. So, and
that's
why they struggle really hard against like hybrid teams with fast pieces like Necro
or these humans, for example.
Or these humans. Anyway, I've moved on. Cullen versus Fed. Good matchup for Fed, I think. There's 2 tackle. One of them is Mighty Blow, but it is a warrior. There are 2 niggles kicking around. There is a sure hands piece, but Fed will have a wizard and Glart, I believe. He gets 350k. No, because I would only leave 200k, and I think Glart is like 240. So you could if you dipped into your 50k bank, but I don't think Fed's going to do that. So it'll probably be more like maybe Babe Apple Bribe or Babe Apple or Apple Bribe and Wizard, something like that, maybe.
Yeah, the Chaos Warriors aren't as relevant. I mean, they're going to get LOS blocks against line rats, and they'll probably chunk through them, but that's pretty much all they're going to really do in this match.
Glart is excited about Nickeled Warriors, but I don't think you're going to get Glart given his cash situation.
No, he's got 50k.
Fed is already like lacking a blitzer, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like these are the kind of matches Fed has been playing for 2 seasons and has won most of them, so it's hard to not predict him here.
Yeah, I think Chaos in general struggle with this matchup, and
here's a big one.
It's gonna get a lot easier.
This is and big in terms of like just there's 4,000 TV on the pitch, big. 2230 Nurgle versus 2000 Chaos Dwarves. Although the Chaos Dwarves are really 1970 because they have a little bit of extra cash.
Well, not usually a matchup that favors the Chorfs.
The Nurgle do have 4 guard, which is generally the problem. Chorfs
the Nurgle have 5 guard.
Well, 4 on the Chaos on the Warriors is what I mean.
They actually have 6 guard, strictly speaking. They've got a Rotter too.
Yeah, sort of what I was going to say is that at lower TVs, Chaos Dwarves tend to have guard, like the guard advantage over Nurgle, because Nurgle won't have it yet, and the Chaos blockers almost all will, so they get into this big scrum, and the Dwarves can keep up with the higher strength just because they have more guard, but they don't anymore here, so the Nurgle have just as much guard and more strength and more Claw Mighty Blow, which means
and more in general survivability. Yeah, I think that I like the Nurgle here. The Dwarfs are going to have a wizard and a bribe, maybe. How many? What's their bench situation looking like? They've got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's probably good enough. You could go. It's a shame that your dirty player's out. You could foul with baked beans and just pray you don't get sent off with the bribe. But
just cover them in baked beans. You heard me. I mean, you have other hobgoblins. You have the beer can chicken and pork belly that can foul.
Yeah. But baked beans is just dirty player. So
I see. Yeah,
more appealing.
Yeah, I mean, often I think Chorf matches against other bash teams can end up in these weird, like, here's a whole bunch of blockers versus your team sort of like scrums with some stuff happening off on the periphery. And I think the Chorfs lose that one in this matchup because of the foul appearance, the guard, the Claw Mighty Blow, the like higher strength. So I'm going to take the Nurgle.
I agree.
And then Ragedorf versus Ramaset. Ragedorf has...
right.
They're actually not out that many players. 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, you skipped Gourmet Governors and Gourmet Dessert.
Oh, oops. Lumi and Stouticus. Being down TV is never where you want to be as Nurgle, and especially not being down TV to vampires. That's just awkward.
A Gazed Warrior still has Stink, right? Yeah, it does.
Correct. Nothing gets rid of Stink.
No, other than a KO or a Kaz.
Or a shower. I'll go home now.
I'm divorcing.
You are
home.
The Nurgle are like, so vampires are not fast. These ones are much faster than normal vampires. These Nurgle are much slower than normal Nurgle, which is just a terrible conglomeration of problems.
Yeah, the fastest tackle on this team is movement 5, and it's still going to struggle to keep up with the vampires. And even when it gets there, Horns doesn't do you that much against a bunch of strength 4 and 5. I like Gloomy.
So do I.
Both as a person and in this match.
Yeah, I mean, you like just as Nurgle, if you're ever like down TV, you're generally just sad. It doesn't really matter to who, and like there's just a bunch of sort of problems that kind of add together here.
The wizard might not be so bad here. Like, sure, your recovery sucks, but vampires are often doing a kind of like hang out in the back thing, and you could potentially take advantage of that.
Stouticus is a very good coach, so you can't put it past him. But so is Luminous, certainly. So this will be fun to watch, I think, even though it might be a little bit frustrating for. I think Luminous can't, or sorry, I think Stouticus could win. I think Stouticus could very likely draw it. I just think it's going to be an incredibly frustrating match. Like, I would really not want to play that as Stouticus. Like, that would just be so sloggy and like frustrating to play. Okay, so now back to the one that I skipped to for some reason. Unseen Walker and Ramaset, 1760 versus 1620. So Ramaset does get a wizard if he spends 10k, right? Yeah, so you take that because it's a wizard for 10k. Furious Dwarf is out, which is kind of annoying, but we do have Insane Dwarf, the strength 5. We've got Hell's Dwarf and we've got Swift Dwarf, which are kind of the big ones, and the rest of them are the sort of supporting cast. I mean, they're dwarf, they're long beards, right? Like, what else do you call them?
Yeah.
Ramaset has armor 7 elves, is a little scary because there's a couple of them that are down to armor 7. Although there isn't like a crazy amount of Mighty Blow on Rage Dwarf. Well, I mean, there's a lot, but not a crazy amount. 5 seems less than dwarves normally would have. We do have the Wrestle Agi piece, which is nice. The Strength piece are kind of the big unfair ones, if you want to put it that way. Often when you look at elf teams, you look for like the unfair players. Quote, end quote. And those are probably the two big ones. Because elves can do a lot of, here are my 3 players that do things, and then the rest of them are just kind of there to be bodies. Like, Skaven do that too a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I think the wizard is having the wizard while the dwarves get what, 2 loner dwarves or something?
Yeah, the wizard certainly helps. I think otherwise Hellsdorf would be kind of tough to deal with.
Yeah.
There's a leap strength 4 tackle piece.
The dwarves do get 2 loner line dwarfs, which like normally isn't terrible because they're still block, thick skull, tackle even if they're loners. The problem is they're also movement 4, and like you can't really reliably reroll like things like GFIs or blocks, so you have to be really careful with them even though they're still pretty reliable. So that's something that may be a source of turnovers that Ramaset could take advantage of. I mean, I think Ramaset is pretty happy about this one, judging by chat. But I don't think it's going to be like super easy for him. But I do think this is going to be hard for the dwarves.
I think it's time for Unseen Walker to win a game. I'm into it.
I mean, okay. On the one hand, I really want to predict Unseen Walker because of his terrible game last time. The dice have to even out. Gambler's fallacy, right? But my first instinct was the High Elves, and that way we also have a contested one. So let's do that. Okay, so to REL 2. Commanders in Grief and Agrain, Cold Cuts, Onanian and Agrain, Orc versus Chorf. We had a 1-1 tie. The Chorfs got 58 blocks to the Orcs 35, which is generally not how you'd see that going. You'd kind of think the Orcs would be like bully the Chorfs into not getting many blocks. But if the Chorfs get removals early, they can certainly turn that into more blocks, and it looks like that happened, given we had
and then tie, because, Chorf things.
Yeah, badly hurt strength 5 Black Orc, badly hurt jump up Blitzer, dead Blitzer, badly hurt wrestle strip ball line orc.
Rough game for Anania.
Not a good day to be an orc.
No, they only have 5 breaks. I mean, it did turn into only 2 KOs. Not that great. Yeah, not the best Blitzer, strictly speaking, to lose. So not the end of the world, and he does not have the cash to replace. No, he does. He did replace it. Okay.
We got a level on Salami, who took Dauntless, so now he's Mighty Blow Claw piling on Juggernaut Dauntless.
Yep, with 4 Kaz, so that piece doing work. Not a great game for the Orcs, but they managed to tie it anyway, probably because the Chorfs are Chorfs. And
we had Zarg Mad Eye.
I like Zarg. He's very cheap in a strength 4 piece. Doesn't get blocked, but he is still tackle and
strong arm, Hail Mary, pass, hands. Sure hands.
I mean, he's great for grabbing it and just yeeting it if you ever need to do that.
I mean, you can do that on a 2+ with Hail Mary, right? Hail Mary pass is such a weird skill.
It is. I love it on bombers. It's funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Just mortar people from the back corner.
Mortar combat.
Wow, that's a callback.
Warcraft 3?
Warcraft 3, yeah. I mean, that's like 20 years.
I don't think it's that long ago.
It's pretty. It's like 15, I think.
15 is probably more likely.
He's not wicked smart, though.
2002. 18, so almost 20.
I'm telling you. I'm good at guessing stuff. I took a class in it.
Then we watched the Damn Yankees versus Practice Makes Permanent, REBBL Head Collectors, and Self-Hating Dwarves. So we have Wandering BME and Eisenmike. 1-0 for BME.
As I called it, from here on out, I'm just right. So
I was also right for this one. I was wrong for a lot of the rest of it, though.
There was a lot of blocks going both ways, but the Chaos getting the better end of the blocks for sure. And the better end of the breaks, the better end... Wait.
Did
they get no removals? They got 14 breaks and 0 removals.
The Dwarves?
The Chaos.
The Chaos got 17 breaks and... they got 0 removals from those... From those breaks, the Dwarves did take a KO and a Kaz from like dodges or GFIs or fouls or something,
but 17 breaks into 0 removals is insane.
That is unlikely.
The expected value there is more. Well, I guess like with Thick Skull, well, also Mighty Blow. Yeah, no, that's quite nuts. Anyway,
unexpected. Badly hurt on their short. I guess is the one Kaz that happened there. Badly hurt on Scruffy Hair, so he'll be fine. We do have an MNG on a rookie Beastman, which is annoying because I think that puts you at 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's your bench for next game, so that's kind of annoying actually because now you don't have a bench and it won't it's not like you have a loaner to replace or anything. It's just you don't have a bench anymore. But I guess it could have been worse, especially taking the win. So that's nice. Fall and Not for Science. Here We Fall versus Fell with Kawada Doll. This is one that we were thinking about watching. We thought it was going to be interesting when we talked about it last week. It kind of went a little bit how we expected. Like Lord Nathaniel Mar got 3 Kaz, which I totally expected him to do, like just run around and kill Elds. I didn't expect Fall to score 3 times while that was happening, though.
Did cost him a Blodge Step diving tackle catcher. And an MNG on a guard lino, but that's really it. So no great loss. Yeah, I mean, looks like not Unseen Not for Science just couldn't hold on to the ball.
I mean, we got two completed passes with the thrower, but none of them turned into touchdowns. So either they were vanity passes or Fall managed to stop him. I mean, Fall has a lot of really good players. Like
it's a lot of SPP for Fall. 8, 13, 17, 21, 23. Not bad.
I'm like
Bash team.
I'm not surprised Fall won. I just wouldn't have expected it to be 3-0 while also like being removed like that. So that was kind of either very boring or very interesting, and you'd have to watch the game to find out.
I mean, it wasn't that many removals.
I mean, 3.
Here we fall removed more players than Fell with Quadadol did.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
On 12 breaks, he got 5 removals.
And also, what I mean is that like Lord Nathaniel Marr did things, and that's what we sort of expected.
It looked like every single time Not for Science got a break, he removes. Oh, never mind. I'm looking at this wrong. No, he just got 3 Kaz on 5 breaks.
Yeah. Lord Nathaniel Marr did things, which is sort of what we expected, but Fall won while that was happening. I just would have thought he had either do more things or Not for Science would also score while Nathaniel Marr was doing things. Then we had Monster Bash.
There are 3 Kaz here and a dead, which means he chose not to Apo this catcher, or he power Apo to KO.
Yeah, the dead maybe power up with something early on, and then the dead happened, and he was sad.
Well, or just decided that it was a catcher with all normals, and he didn't need to Apo it, which I would understand, given that the rest of the team is a lot more valuable.
Although he then ate MVP, and you're probably kicking yourself for that one.
Yeah, that's true. 5 of the 23 SVP wasted.
Disappointing. Monster Bash and Hornstars, Tech 19 versus My Nemo, 1-0 for the Necro. That is the 17 players because they killed one.
Nice.
Also, there's no number 3, so I guess it's not. He went from 15 to 16, I think.
Yeah, killed Seymour Butts, the dirty player Beastman, and now has Seymour Butts, the zombie.
Yes, that's nice. I mean, free zombies are always good, and now you have 16 players now, though, which is probably too many, frankly.
Probably, yes.
White and a zombie getting injured throughout the course of it from some of the chaos players.
Mighty Blow White going down is unfortunate because that's your only Mighty Blow.
The Flesh Golem is Mighty Blow,
so it does.
But it's your only Mighty Blow that can like blitz things reliably, because the Flesh Golem is movement 4. Yes, they'll be annoying for the next game, but
equal armor breaks,
equal number of blocks, like equal number of armor breaks, like very similar.
Like identical armor breaks sustained. So after dodges and stuff are taken into account.
Yeah. 2 KOs and 5 casts sustained versus 4 KOs and 5 casts sustained. But some of those injuries got better. It looks like, which could have contributed a bit to the 1-0 rather than a tie or anything if you just had more players after all that.
Yeah, it looks like Hornstars also took a lot of Kaz from like fouls and things like that. So it just got out-removed a bit.
Yeah, they took 5. Then Fragile and Limp and Yield Guard 2-1 for the Dark Elves over the Nurgle.
Wow, the Nurgle got 64 blocks. It's a lot against elves.
That is a lot against elves. 23 armor breaks is a lot. 8 KOs and 3 Kaz out of that as well. But if that came too late, or if all the KOs came back, it doesn't really do much other than allow you to score during your drive, kind of thing. Like this like screams,
2-1 grind or something like that.
Yeah, Nurgle had to score on turn 7 or turn 6 because they had the opportunity and the elves were threatening them. Elf KOs came back. Elves scored in their drive. Nurgle couldn't 2-turn or whatever on their own, and there you go. It is a pretty common story for this type of matchup, I think. The movement, or maybe even a 1-turn. I mean, we do have the movement, 9 Blitzer, who's Agi 5, can probably get that accomplished if he has to, and did get a touchdown, so it's certainly something that could have happened. Touchdown came from the ball carrier for the Nurgle, and then he got injured, so that also, like, the not having sure hands, not having like recovery options, not having a good ball carrier in the later halves of the game could easily stop you from making this a tie as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Sterling Hornets and Abysmal Cusp, Clown Thulu and Sir Kodiak. We had another elves and elves, loners and Eldril versus Nurgle sort of matchup. And another all normals dead catcher in Kelmoran Crommel. Armor busted on the strength catcher. Agi bust on the strength 4 lineman. This cost the elves quite a bit.
Significantly, yeah.
They won, but at what price?
Doesn't matter. I predicted a win. I didn't say it would be clean.
That's fair.
Only badly hurt coming in on loners. Stings a bit, certainly.
Yeah.
Eldril scoring, which is the sign that things went a little haywire, but that's fine.
If you win, you win. But it went a little sidewindery.
Speaking of annoying pieces, Blodstep, diving tackle, fend. Nice.
Yeah, that is very annoying. Rotter leveled, who has dirty player. I mean, he probably just gets wrestle, and we have another one. The ball carrier is getting fairly close to legend. He's 149, and he's going to do most of the scoring. So we'll probably see legend on him this season, which is kind of exciting.
Pray for a double for dodge. If not, you take big hand maybe, but that's a bit of a waste.
I mean, he's already at G4.
Well, big hand is the one for tackle zones.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying he's at G4 sure hands. Whether you take big hands or extra arms, for example, like one over the other, like big hand's only going to matter if it's in like 3 tackle zones, right?
If it's in 2, it matters.
So I mean, big hand is certainly a thing.
But if it's in 1, it matters too, actually.
Not if you're extra arms at G4.
Oh, yeah, it's better than extra arms always. Because I think big hand cancels the rain too, doesn't it?
Yes. And
big hand is always better, but
or at least the same.
Or at least the same, yeah.
Extra arms would increase your pass potentially.
Oh, does it increase pass? That's right. I knew it did something else other than pickups.
Yeah, although either way, it's both of them are very marginal utility, I guess, is the story of the game. Neither of them add a huge amount. Dodge would add a lot. You'd want dodge, you'd want plus movement, you'd want strength. Sometimes if you were lucky that way, that'd be amazing.
Normally you might take fend. I'm trying to think of what you take.
Yeah, fend wouldn't be bad.
But you pick up uncontested, you've already got a 2+. So.
Yeah, because you're already at G4. So it's this specific player's case rather than in general. Because he's already at G4, so if there's nobody there, it's
normally it's a trade-off of tackle zones versus
which is why you'll see the Pestigors that roll only normals and never get agi do 2 heads extra arms, because that's pseudo agi 4 just in 2 skills, because now it's +1 to pick up, +1 to dodges. But if you get agi 4, you don't really need the extra arms portion of that. For the most part. So yeah, I mean, fend is probably, it depends on how you play with them, right? You may if you sometimes use them, I have a similar piece, I guess, and I use them as a sacker a lot because I don't have a real sacker. But so taking something extra arms or big hand wouldn't make that much of a difference, and I'd probably just take tackle to make the sacking a bit better. But since you have exploding social rupture, who can do that a lot of the time, systematic inequality is more likely to be either recovery or just ball carrying. So big hand would be good.
Systemic, but yes.
Or fend for the ball carrying portion of it. If he's the type of player that you sit on defense, and you only ever field him on offense, then I think the normal is probably fend or something like that.
Yeah. Anyway,
if he's something you take on defense, then you could consider a big hand. But
I guess let's look at the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Less of a breakaway story here. There are 3 people with 2-0 records: Trunk, Tech, and Logos Mani.
We're still very early in the season though, so these are super easily changed. There are also 2 people with 0-2 records so far, and that's Eisen, Mike, and my Nemo, unfortunately.
Very similar record to 2B.
Nobody, one person dead in the middle, Egg Rain with the 2 draws. Oops.
Perfectly balanced.
I didn't mean to back out of that. Let's back into it. Forward into it. Go back to where we were. First, we have Commanders in Grief and the Sterling Hornets. 1980 Orcs, 1550 Pro Elves. Orcs have 1 tackle mighty blow. They have an agi sure hands ball carrier. They do have a wrestle tackle strip ball, which is kind of weird. A lot of guard and a lot of dodge, weirdly enough, for these orcs. The Pro Elves have a pretty good sacker in their catcher, and that's most of it, because their strength 4 catcher and their strength 4 lineman are both out for this game. So I think this is a game of inducements, right? Do you think the inducements from the Pro Elves are going to be enough to stop the orcs, because that's pretty much the story of the game, I think. Because it's like, just pretty standard normals pro elves versus orcs, and they get 430k. So do you think the 430k is enough to
this is the one that got totally brutalized, right?
Yeah, so they're missing their two biggest like pieces that would be useful here in the strength 4s. So there's some like diving tackle and like blodge step, but like
they're gonna have a bolt, but
it's a bit annoying, and the recovery is kind of hard.
Yeah, I think I still like the orcs, but it's
not I like the orcs. I like the orcs, and I think it basically is, do you think the inducements will do enough? And if they can, then you would take the pro elves. But if you don't think they do, then it's orcs most of the time. Abysmal Cusp and Fragile and Limp. So we have 2230 Nurgle versus 1970 Dark Elves. That's a big set of players. I've said this a billion times. If I had to pick an elf team to play against as Nurgle, I'd play against Dark Elves. But when they're this high TV, it can certainly be frustrating because they often have good players, right? Like the movement 9, movement 8, the Mighty Blow piling on lineman. Less relevant here, but still a very good player. And so the Dark Elves are huge. They've got a lot of good tools, plus they get wizard levels of inducements, which is a little bit annoying as the Nurgle here, I think. The Beast of Nurgle is very useful, actually. Block guard, stand firm, plus movement. Could probably tie up some elves.
The X5, as we say every time. Famous Nurgle pieces.
Just very good in like the agi matchups in general, because like the dodge away is pretty hard sometimes.
Yeah. So these Dark Elves are pretty fast. They're gonna have a bit of inducements, you said? Yeah, like a wizard. Maybe some babes.
Yeah, I know who I'm gonna take.
I'm gonna take the Dark Elves.
That is what I did. Normally I'm pretty okay being the Nurgle here, but the things that you're okay with are the fact that the Dark Elves can't necessarily outrun you, and they certainly can here.
Yes, and these are the very successful Dark Elves so far. So.
Yeah, hard to bet against that when they've done so well so far. Yield Guard and Monster Bash, 2030 Nurgle, 1710 Necro. This may be the case for getting rid of some of those zombies. I mean, on the one hand, you can play around quite a bit with inducements here as Tech 19, I think. Like, you have a huge bench, which is nice to have against Nurgle, but it's very big, and you could easily cut like 2 zombies to increase your inducements by even more if you wanted to, if you think they'd be useful. So you could play with it a little bit here if you wanted to as the
Necro.
Like
I'd consider trading zombies for inducements in terms of positionals. Like if you're getting chainy, if you're getting like a leveled up white or something like that.
Yeah.
He's gonna get bodied. The question is he gonna win anyway?
Pretty much. I mean, like, if you could keep all of the zombies around and your zombies are gonna get bodied, but like as long as the wolf doesn't get bodied and you keep putting the zombies in the way, like the Nurgle can only kill so many zombies a turn.
Yeah, I believe in Tech 19. He hasn't disappointed yet.
I think it's gonna be a close one. I think the inducements are gonna play a pretty big role here. I have no idea. I don't know what I want to pick. I think let's go opposite so we have something to talk about, and I will take the Nurgle. Like, the inducements are pretty serious, and the wizard could be annoying, especially with that wolf, but if it doesn't, it comes down so much to that, right? If like the inducements don't do a thing, the Nurgle will just beat them to death.
Yep, and then we have High Elves versus Chaos.
1880 and 1600.
280k versus Mighty Mo.
What do we have for? So 1 tackle on a warrior, 1 tackle on a movement 5 beastman, and then there's the tackle, or there's tackle on like the ball carrying beastman as well.
Mm-hmm.
Fall has what? The tackle is not super relevant. There's only a couple of dodge, but what is relevant is strength 4, IG 5, movement 8, movement 9.
Yep, and a wizard. I like the elves for this.
If he gets a wizard, does he get a bench as well? I don't think so. Oh yeah, he could. Because that's the scary bit, is that there's certainly some pretty strong Claw Mighty Blow removal potential against the Armor 8 High Elves. But the elves could get a bench if they wanted to, and as long as they keep the Agi 4, Agi 5 around with the or the Agi 5 Strength 4 around with something like a wizard, then they have a pretty good shot. So I think I'm going to take that as well. Then we have Not for Science and the BME, REBBL Head Collectors, fell with Squadadal. 1970 Chaos, 1760 High Elves. Similar story, perhaps?
Yeah, 100k.
Although these elves are quite a bit slower, is the big difference. They have a lot of moving busts.
Science in an off season, so
that's a good point. These Chaos are a little bit less. Well, they're pretty similar levels of punchy.
It's a lot of Mighty Blow.
It is. And I think the big difference here is that the Lord Nathaniel Marr is not really that useful in this matchup, which is the big strength of this team. And the rest of his players are pretty slow, which might be... I
mean, I think he's still going to be useful for removing goats, but... Yeah, I don't think... I
mean, he's more of a... He's a lot easier to shut down than some of the other players as like a chaos team.
If he piles on, so...
And he's only Agi 3, so you can like kind of screen him off, and he's not really that much of a threat to important players. Like, I think Nathaniel Marr is he's great because he's a human blitzer on an elf team, but that's mostly valuable in elf matchups.
Yeah, I think I'll take the chaos here, but I think this one's a little closer.
Yeah, that's what I did as well. But I would not be surprised if Not for Science won. I'm just a little bit of momentum banking on that, I think. Debt Monkey and Eisenmike, self-hating dwarves in practice makes permanent. This will be quite a smashing of meat.
I think this is gonna be really hard for the dwarves.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guard.
6 to 7, I think. Yeah, 6 to 7.
6 to 7, more strength for the orcs. So I agree with you, and that this one is going to be hard for the dwarves. They're not really going to get removed, but the orcs can do the thing where the dwarves can't punch anything because they're just outguarded and outstrengthed.
Yeah, and movemented.
Outmoved.
Yeah.
I think this is...
The only one you really need to protect is... There's like 2 blitzers that have like an AV busted and niggle, so you need to keep them a little safe. But other than that, the team's pretty sturdy. Yeah, I think I like the orcs here.
I mean, Eisenmike saying that guard spam is obnoxious, and he's playing against a team with more guard, so I think it's a self-hating dwarves self-prediction there.
And then we have Trunkhead versus A-Grain.
1810 Dark Elves versus 1800.
Exactly the same TV.
Yeah, weird. Oh, we did see that Trunkhead is pretty good at exploiting positioning from like slower punchy teams, and the Chorps are that. The Bull Centaurs can make up for that a little bit with like pseudo movement 9 tackle break tackle.
It's quite a bit of difference, really. Much more reliable high movement piece than the other problem with the blitzers is they kept just moving movement 6. Like some of that was the blizzard, of course, but
I'm just saying that like it's going to be like it's certainly different, but it's also similar, right? Like potentially a similar style of game, but you might have to play it a little bit differently because of the Bull Centaurs.
Yeah. Similar problem with the sacking. It's going to be decently easy to get a red die, even maybe a 1 die sometimes if you're not caged up well, because you've only got 4 guards, so you've got to be careful with keeping at least a guard on each corner. A lot of tackle, which will make it a little harder for Trunk, and there's even a tackle Bull Centaur. Like both the Bull Centaurs are credible blodge threats.
I think the bit that's quite a bit scarier is that not only are all the cage corners going to have guard, all the cage corners are going to be Claw Mighty Blow, which is a little bit scary. Like, I mean, I think you still do it, obviously. Just if it fails, it could go worse.
I mean, strictly speaking, the orcs with Juggernaut were way more of a threat to the Witch Elves than these blockers will be.
I don't necessarily mean the Witch Elves. I mean, like, you know, if we end up marking a cage corner to blitz a corner and it doesn't work, or if you know, we try to get in the way of like the cage, or we have to like try to, you know, the ball ends up on the floor and we have to kind of try to flood it a little bit to stop the hobgoblins from like picking it up or whatever. Like, the response is a lot more scary. Because like the Witch Elves don't really care about the claw, right? They're armor 7, but all the other Dark Elves do. So you may run out of pieces you don't care about more quickly in this matchup. But all of that said, I think I still. This is going to be. I think this is going to be an interesting one. That might be fun to watch. Although we did watch Chunkhead this week, so probably not.
Probably not. But
yeah. I'm still gonna take the Dark Elves, although I think this one is going to be quite a bit harder than the last one was. It'll be interesting. You know, Igraine is a Super Bowl winning coach, so you can't ever count him out. And you can't really expect him to. He'll probably be less. You know, maybe he makes fewer mistakes, maybe plays a bit more aggressively. And he did win Super Bowl with Dark Elves, so he's certainly very familiar with how they work. So that could be quite a bit harder. But I do like the Dark Elf teams. Just a lot of tools available, and I think it might be hard for the Chorfs to deal with some of them, despite those positives. Anyway, so I guess that's the predictions. So I'll bring up the title screen. So I guess that's going to be us, right?
That is it for us. Yeah.
Thanks everybody for hanging out.